can get rid of all this behind the scenes stuff. But
that's what post production's for.
Yeah, well, I think some of the people see us going live like, what are these jackasses doing?
Idiots doing. All right, I'm waiting for my Instagram to populate. Here we go.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find my Instagram. I don't know where the hell it went.
All right, we are live on the grams.
Oh, y'all got it. Y'all got it all maxed out.
What do you need? You need me to get off one of those?
No, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, I don't care, dude.
You sure?
To me, it's
all right. Well, hey, it is Wednesday night, December the 17th. Hey, this is episode 23 of our podcast, guys. What do you think? I went back and counted, and 23 episodes. America's Outpost. What do you think?
I think that we have improved at least 2% in this time period.
Significantly.
Only 2%.
I'm judging myself as a whole. I'll give it 10%.
I mean, we've gotten better.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, I came on, which was, brought a whole nother level of professionalism.
That's when we started seeing it kind of start.
Falling apart. All right. So here's David Pollack. He's already in.
David is here.
Well, bring him on, and then I'll do our official show opening, and then you can introduce our guest. How's that sound?
Yeah, his name is David Pollack.
David.
That's all I know.
David.
that's all you know.
That's all you need to know.
That's all I know.
Right? Well, anyway, hey, guys, it is Wednesday, December the 17th. This is the final episode of America's Outpost for the year. I want to thank everybody who's been sticking with us as we try to grow this show and make it a little more professional and watchable over time. And tonight we have my fellow hosts. We have got Mr. Brian Lane and, of course, the real Brett Lee. And check him out at his new Project Liberty as well. So, and tonight we have a special host, a special guest. I apologize, Mr. David Pollack. If I'd slow down, I could say words more correctly.
I got promoted and demoted all in the same
Well, hey, that's what happens when my brain starts processing words faster than my mouth can spit them out. I got to kind of slow it down a little bit. But anyway, we appreciate you coming on. Brian, go ahead and give him the official introduction.
This is David Pollack. Or Pollack? I say it right?
You said it just fine.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah. Now you want to change my name too? My title, name, whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
we fly by the seat of our pants around here.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But no, it's and I already warned him. It's just casual conversation, a few beers, and then we lose our minds. So this is David Pollack. He's filling in for Dan Ball right now, or you filled in for Dan Ball?
I'm going to do my own introduction. Hey, I'm
Thank
David
you.
Pollack. I am a podcast host myself over on Patriot TV, the David Pollack Show. I'm an attorney, and I'm a regular fill-in guest host at OAN. Actually, I'm going to be filling in for Chanel Rion from Fine Point. I'll be doing that from December 22nd, Monday, all the way through February 28th while she's out on maternity leave. So I'll be on OAN for the next few months, I guess, and it is my honor to join you fellas here tonight on this last episode of the year.
Yeah, best introduction I've heard yet.
Yeah, it's 100
better than any of ours.
Because I look at David as like a friend, and it was last second tonight. Really, just kind of, I didn't know if he was going to be able to make it or not. And so when he said he was coming on, all I know is that you did fill in for Dan Ball one time.
I filled in for Dan Ball. I filled in for Matt Gates, and now I'm filling in for Chanel. I'm just doing the whole tour over there, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it won't be long before he's like the big time at OAN out there in San Diego.
And I'll have you do all of my introductions.
Dude, listen,
your name is going to change every week.
Every week.
This is David Pollack.
I don't know how do you say your name, and what do you do? Give him a big round of applause, everybody.
He's also a freaking lawyer, dude. So we got some good stuff.
Lawyer.
Well, appreciate you joining us degenerates on such short notice.
I love hanging out with degenerates on short notice. I mean, that's the only way to hang out with degenerates. You want to make plans with degenerates?
Yeah,
hey, what are you doing? So you expect them to show up? You don't make plans with degenerates. You just show up.
Yeah, and
exactly.
You don't come onto their podcast unless you want to make some headlines or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Controversial conversation. But I have a question to the guys that I do stuff with who I barely know. What's her name? Politically Basic. Did y'all try reaching out to her?
Kyle?
Tonight?
Yeah, she's just getting back from London.
Dang.
Oh, whoa.
David Pollack, he's the host. Dude, this is so terrible, bro. This is so terrible.
Hey, Brian, go ahead and fix that for me.
Who did it?
Me by accident.
There we go.
Can we
'Cause I'm
get rid of
amazing.
the 9x16 on the left?
Absolutely. You can hide the vertical. Boom. And then we can also make it bam. If you want it like that, I'm awful
Well,
red
I
right
mean, well, I still see it, but that's fine. Whatever.
I'm good.
All right, let's get into the show. Let's get into the show.
now. You still see it? You still see the vertical?
I still see the vertical.
We'll go over there and click on it and say hide vertical. It's right there. It says it.
All right, all right. Anyway,
This will be
all right.
edited, David. Don't worry.
At least I'm having fun. I hate it.
we'll make sure that's you.
All right, where do we begin, fellas?
Yeah,
All right.
let's get after it.
What I mean, I think the hottest topic right now is Bongino.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I think he sees the writing on the wall. I think it's a little bit of self-preservation sprinkled with frustration on his end. It's kind of where that's my take on it. I'm sure he'll go out graciously and not have some big, blow up or anything like that. He's that type of guy. So I don't know.
I look
It's
forward to
tough to say.
hearing from. I mean, President Trump said he was looking forward to going back to his podcast in brief, but
Yeah.
he is also, I wonder about health as well. And so that was kind of my thoughts. And I was like, okay, is there something going on that we should know about? I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But
Yeah, he did look a little worn down, but every single person that's joined this administration looks worn down right about now. I mean, even Caroline Leavitt, she looks tired. But I mean, that's probably just part of the job. Just doesn't matter what you do, you're going to just be wore out.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. What's your take, Aaron?
Well, I think maybe he got a peek behind the curtain at what the deep state was all about, and that he is trying to save his soul and his integrity. There's just so much going on that I don't think who wants to live through that, especially if you can't do the right thing. And I think he is more about doing the right thing than Kash Patel, in my opinion. Again, unqualified, but I really do think that Dan wants to do what's right, and Kash is playing the game. And he's running around, flying around on the FBI jet with his hot girlfriend.
Oh yeah. All right.
Right?
All right, David, give it to us. The professional man.
Look, I think it's probably pretty straightforward. He was doing very well as a podcaster, #1 podcaster on Rumble, making millions and millions and millions of dollars, living a wonderful life in Southeast Florida, as the New Yorkers call it. And, he had a good life. And then the president asked him to serve. He was in the government before. He knows what it's like. He went there. And I think, like everybody who's not in government or is in government and leaves government, I think Dan Bongino is very loyal to President Trump. I think he's probably very loyal to Kash Patel. I think
100%.
when you get into the government, though, and you have a lot of things you want to do, and you're frustrated with the pace in which you can do those things, and then starts to take a personal toll on your life. And I'm sure I don't know if his family relocated to Washington or not, if he's been going back and forth or whatever. I'm sure it took a toll on him, and he probably felt like, as deputy director of the FBI, not director of the FBI, that he was doing just about as much as he could do, and the cost to his personal life probably didn't balance out the impact he thought he could have. And I don't think he has the time or the patience to see this through at the speed of government. I think he went there, he did the best he could, and I think he probably has a lot of frustrations with not being able to do things quicker. But at the same time, I think he would be very understanding on why things won't be moved quicker. So I don't think you're going to see, a lot of people are speculating Dan Bongino is going to hit his podcast and start blasting this administration, blasting the FBI, releasing all this Epstein stuff. I think Dan Bongino is going to say, look, we did the best we could. Government is a difficult thing to work in, and I'm proud of what we did. And he'll probably talk about his record of stopping terror, deporting bad guys, and they've done a lot of great work, the FBI. A lot of people are focused on this Epstein nonsense and some of these other frustrating goalpost moving phenomenon. But I think at the end of the day, he's going to be very gracious to Donald Trump, Kash Patel, and I think he's going to go back to being a podcaster. He's going to get his contracts back, and maybe eventually he'll start opening up a little bit more about his frustrations, but it's certainly not going to be over the next few years.
Oh, 100%. And so that leaves that void. And I'm wondering who they're going to line up.
They already brought in that guy from the Midwest. What was his name? The co-deputy director. Remember, because there was some rumors that he was going to step down over the Epstein nonsense, and they brought that other guy in. What's the other guy's name? I'm going to look it up here in a minute. But so there was another guy brought in at some point. So I'm assuming he'll just
slide in.
Andrew Bailey.
Andrew Bailey. Yep.
Yeah, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. He's the co-deputy director. So I assume once Dan Bongino rolls out, Andrew Bailey will just be the deputy director, and it'll go from there. So I don't think there's going to. Yeah.
Well, they bring in Andrew Bailey, and is he going to be any more effective or less effective than Dan Bongino? To your point, the speed at with which government moves in Washington, it's at a snail's pace for the most part. I, like a lot of Americans, are extremely frustrated. We don't have Nancy Pelosi in cuffs, for example. Somebody needs to be arrested. You look at the fraud going on in Minnesota with the Somalis. The evidence is so evidently clear to everyone. Why haven't we put people in cuffs? Well, there is a process involved in order to do it successfully so that when you arrest somebody, your case isn't thrown out because you've made a mistake, some sort of procedural nonsense that you screwed up on, and now the case gets kicked out and you've got to start over, like happened with, let's say, James Comey.
Yeah. Letitia James.
And Letitia James, now you've got to go back. So I understand that we have to be patient in order for the process to move effectively. It just doesn't move efficiently, but effectively. But damn, what are we waiting on? Throw some cuffs on somebody, right? Especially
pick
when
a fall guy.
It's so obvious. Take your fall guy, at least give us some satisfaction. Now, on the flip side, in my opinion, maybe they're holding off on some of these arrests because, as far as I'm concerned, we're behind the 8 ball for the midterms. Yep. Now, we're going to have to get off here at about 5 till because the president's going to come on. No one's going to pay attention to us, and I want to hear what he's got to say. And he's going to have to come on and say, look what's happened since I've become president. Things have improved, right? Well, inflation has slowed down, but prices really haven't dropped. They just haven't went up as quickly. So he's going to have to do a fantastic job of laying out the progress and making the American people understand that this is a process that's going to take a little bit of time. But let's circle back to what you were saying about the replacement for Dan Bongino. Can he speed up the pace with which the FBI moves? And a lot of what's going on, in my opinion, right now is they're covering their own ass. It's a huge organization, thousands and thousands of employees, some which are, as far as I'm concerned, absolutely guilty of doing things they should be arrested for and tried for. But again, if there are more of the bad people than the good people, what are you going to do? How are they going to speed this up? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I agree. And, they got into that situation and they knew it was an uphill battle from the get-go. Like I've said it multiple times, they got fed a shit sandwich when they took that job. And they are under scrutiny with every single decision that they make. And I mean, especially when it came to the Epstein stuff, but that almost overshadows the successes that they do have. I mean, if you take a 10,000 foot view of how far they've come, I mean, when was the last time you heard about this much stuff being done in the FBI or the government in general?
Fair enough.
If you take this, almost a year now, I mean, we have done so much. I hear more success stories and just little things here and there that overall make a huge difference in the movement of the government. When Biden and the previous administrations were in office, you never really heard about any kind of progress other than the hot button topics that everybody wanted to, hang their hat on. But I feel like we're making good progress. It's agonizingly slow, but again, they had that uphill battle, and I'm hoping that we've kind of crested that hill. We'll start picking up some steam, and then some real big changes will start happening right before the midterms, and we can go in with a full head of steam.
I just have one follow-up comment. You get a conviction in Minnesota for one of the fraudsters, and the judge says, no, thank you. Throw it out.
Uphill battle.
So how are they allowed to just throw out a jury's conviction? Well, you weren't smart enough to understand what was going on, and you convicted, and you just didn't know. You didn't know the deal. You're bananas, right? So it's becoming frustrating.
Yeah. And maybe you could speak to that, David, being on the lawyer side of it. I mean, is there any kind of credence to anything that you're seeing?
So, yeah, I'm making notes, and I tend to do this when we have a panel, so I'm not just jumping in over people. A couple things. So let's go back first, talk about why aren't more people in cuffs. We saw very quickly what some of the pitfalls that we're dealing with the James Comey dismissal, the Letitia James dismissal. Even when they assigned a new prosecutor, they couldn't get a new indictment after 3 tries with Letitia James. And with James Comey, they're playing all kinds of games. Doesn't matter if a Republican appointed a judge or a Democrat appointed a judge. Donald Trump has no friends in the Republican Party, Democratic Party, on the bench. Even his Supreme Court justices betray him. So
Yes.
it is
great
not
point.
as simple as throwing cuffs on somebody and saying, hey, look, guys, promise is made, promise is kept. Because at the end of the day, you arrest somebody and you can't get a conviction. These cases are dismissed. What are they going to do? They're going to blame Pam Bondi. They're going to blame Kash Patel. They're going to blame Donald Trump. They're going to demand Pam Bondi step down. They're just going to use it to insert chaos into the administration and then make the argument that none of these arrests are legitimate, that it's lawfare, that none of these people actually did anything wrong, and they're going to use that narrative to basically allow these people to look innocent, even though they're guiltier than hell. So the problem
Yes.
we have is we have to have perfect, buttoned up, no possibility of getting dismissed cases before we can go after these people, especially super high profile people. We haven't even looked at the real high profile people yet. We're just talking about James Comey at this point and Letitia James. There are a lot of bad guys who did a lot of really bad things. But if we can't get the Letitia James indictment to stick when she committed mortgage fraud, for God's sakes, what hope do you have that this judicial system is going to uphold indictments on some of these high-profile figures? Certainly, we have a two-tier system of justice. They say nobody's above the law, but someone is certainly beneath the law. And Donald Trump's raid on Mar-a-Lago, they're saying now that there was no probable cause for it.
Right.
Donald Trump is indicted in 17 places. They literally make up charges, make up causes of action, make up damages that are unconstitutional. The rules don't apply to Trump the same way they apply to the rest of the world. The rules don't apply for people who support Trump the same way they'd apply to the rest of the world. So as frustrated as people are that more people aren't going to jail, they'll be even more frustrated when we arrest people and they walk away scot-free and allowed to do this with immunity for the rest of their damn lives. So we have to be very cautious about how we're prosecuting these cases. That's one thing. The other thing is it's not that atypical for a judge to throw out or invalidate a guilty verdict if they don't think it was a lawful conviction. That's not uncommon. Of course, in high-profile cases, it'll seem more high-profile. One thing on the economy, and then I'll shut up. We don't want prices to drop. And so we have to be careful when we're talking about Trump's success with inflation. Inflation has slowed from a historic high to normal growth. We want some inflation. The opposite of inflation is deflation, and a deflationary monetary environment is bad. That's when people lose their jobs, people lose everything because the cost of debt goes up. Imagine buying a car, and then rather than the price of the debt going down thanks to inflation, everything you finance becomes more expensive while you're still financing it. That's a really big thing, and that's just not for a consumer. For businesses who borrow billions of dollars, when billions of dollars becomes more expensive while you still owe the debt, it's a bad thing. So we don't want prices to drop. We want inflation to stabilize, which it has. And so, yes, milk is going to cost what it costs. Eggs are going to cost what they cost with some adjustments, but we're not expecting it to go down to pre-inflation prices. It's never going to happen. What we can do is make the consumer more powerful, put more money back in the wallets of the consumer so they can afford to buy more. So that's where Trump's historic tax cuts, largest middle-class tax cuts in American history, and we haven't even felt those yet. Those haven't even come into place yet. So these prices will not be a concern when prices are not the issue, when affordability is not the issue, because people have more money, and that puts more money in the economy, and everybody wins.
And David, I agree with that statement, except for one thing. Even though we're going to see tax cuts and we're all going to see healthier paychecks next year, wage inflation never keeps pace with price inflation on goods. Never. And I've been working in finance since 2000 in an environment where I have watched the price of everything go through the roof and wages never keep pace, period. End of story, flat out. But to your point, if we see deflation, that's going to hit your 401k. And people are going to freak out about that. People are paper rich with the equity in their house. They'll freak out about that. But we're going to start to see, and we are seeing, prices on homes start to come down. We're starting to see price cuts across the board. So, yes, we have to have a healthy economy. But if we cannot create more jobs than what is available for the workforce, therefore putting upward pressure on wages, we're never going to see a $20 an hour guy become a $28 an hour guy. Right. Then now you're saying, okay, now I'm making $28 an hour. I don't care if milk's $2.50 a gallon.
Yeah. Well, we can get there though, and this is what's so different about. And there's going to be short-term pain for long-term gain, and it's not even going to be that short-term painful.
Yep.
But the thing is this: when we're transitioning from a global sort of manufacturing economy where we're able to get wage competition and labor competition in countries like China and Mexico and Vietnam and other places where you pay people nothing and then send those goods to the United States for free. when we're tariffing those countries and making it more expensive to produce things and then import them, and we're encouraging domestic manufacturing, well, there's going to be a higher demand for labor once we're needing more domestic labor. And when there's demand, wages go up. But we're in this weird environment where people are still looking overseas to manufacture things, trying to find other places to manufacture. But if we double down on tariffs and we double down on a pro-America manufacturing strategy, it will be tough for people in the short term because wage inflation, you're right, will not keep up with actual inflation. But eventually, when we're producing things here, there will be a need for labor. There will be demand for labor. But right now, it's not. We're not there yet. We're still looking for people to come and
We're
work.
not, and the quickest fix is if we do away with federal income tax, because we get that money through tariffs. That is an instant fix. People will feel that absolutely flat out day one. And if you look at people fighting against, we tariffs are bad. Well, the only person that says tariffs are bad is somebody who doesn't benefit.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And I think, to y'all's point, I think, yes, all of those things are true, but for the layman, the person that is just looking at their paycheck going, I can't afford this anymore. Those type of things, they're looking for those quick wins, which, eliminating the federal income tax would be a huge win. But I think the administration needs to do a better job at communicating how all of these levers being pulled work for us as average Americans. Most people are not the, financial savvy people that we would hope that they are, and hope that they understand that these tariffs are a long game. It's not going to be, a little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain. Most people don't care about that. They want to know, can I get groceries next week and not have to worry about going broke? So if we could figure out a messaging or a way to communicate that a little bit better to the average American, I feel like that we would have a lot more momentum going behind these moves. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And I think that'll be part of his messaging this evening is you just got to be patient. Like I've always said, the economy is not the knob on a stereo. We can't take it from 0 to 10 in the twist of a knob, and all of a sudden we're all making 50% more than we did before. It takes time, and it's a huge mechanism. It's a flywheel, right? A flywheel starts off slow, but when it gets going, you've got to keep that flywheel going, because as soon as you slow it down, like happened under the previous administration, then all of a sudden to crank that bad boy back up, it's tough. But I think, David, to your point, we're doing the right things. It can't happen fast enough, but it's going to take some time. So we have to win the midterms. We have to get a solid Republican as a follow-up to Donald Trump as well that will be willing to get in and do that political street fighting that he's been up to the task at doing with the Democrats, because we all know they fight dirty.
Man, you are setting it up. And if you don't mind if I knock it down, because you're exactly right on the messaging. But I was saying the exact same thing after the election of a couple of Tuesdays ago, where everyone was saying, we might actually win New Jersey. Oh, it's going to be close in Virginia. Oh, it's going to be close in New York. And it wasn't. I think, and obviously they were saying, well, this administration needs to do a better job about discussing affordability. Donald Trump says it was a hoax. And then people said, affordability is not a hoax. People are really feeling it. And they are. But the hoax of it is that Donald Trump is doing everything he can to discuss what he's doing to address the issues of cost and affordability and inflation. Sure. The problem is Republicans suck at messaging. They've always sucked at messaging, whether it's abortion, whether it's healthcare, whether it's immigration, whether it's the border, whether it's crime, whatever it is. They don't understand the issues and they can't articulate them. So the problem is you have Republicans unable to communicate to their constituents that they understand the affordability issue. And as a result, it looks like Donald Trump doesn't understand the affordability issue. The problem is the Republicans can't get the hell out of Donald Trump's way, and they're making it much harder for him. He has addressed affordability and he has plans to fix it, but the Republicans are slow walking his nominations. The Republicans are slow walking his legislation. Trump wants the nuclear option. What would the Republicans do with it? They'd give it to the Democrats to abuse. I mean, Republicans have not delivered on a damn thing that Donald Trump has asked them to deliver on. We barely passed a big, beautiful bill. They voted down ACA reform, and now we have another deadline looming on the shutdown. I mean, so no matter what, these Republicans are screwing up Donald Trump's messaging, and they can do a much better job. And speaking to your point about the midterms, if Republicans don't get on the ball with messaging and get aligned with President Trump on messaging, and it's very important that I say aligned with President Trump, because right now, every Democrat or every Republican campaign is saying, what are we going to do about the Donald Trump situation? How are we on Donald Trump? And then you have some jackass in some anti-Trump GOP consultant group going, well, let's just distance ourselves a little bit because these economic policies are proving unsuccessful in these special elections. So what we're having right now is a battle between whether they're going to support Donald Trump or not, whether they're going to get behind Donald Trump's policies or distance themselves from Donald Trump. And I can promise you, every Republican candidate that distances themselves from Donald Trump will lose. But at the end of the day, they'll still blame Donald Trump for it. So it is important that we get a handle of these messaging so we can win the midterms.
That's a great point.
Good Lord.
And, we just passed a $900 billion defense budget.
Yeah.
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 What
goes
did
back
we
to the
do-
messaging.
What did we do when we only had a $700 billion defense budget? How did we stay safe? What did we do when we only had a $500 billion defense budget? Guys, three of us, and David, maybe you did too, but three of us on here have served. We understand how the military works from the standpoint of our time in service and the branch we served in. Part of that $900 billion included money to Ukraine. So in order to get a $900 billion defense spending package passed, that means everybody had to be on board enough to get it through the system, which means we had Republicans, rhinos, who are taking money just like everybody else in Congress to ensure they get reelected. We need this money. And I watch things all day long. Who's this Timu Tony Stark guy that is a Palantir, the guy that wears the Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah.
Is that Palantir, or what's his company? You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, I think it is Palantir, isn't it?
I have no clue, but I tell you what, this has been delightful. I'm sitting over here and I'm just like, good Lord, this is great.
And
getting
I
into
got
the good
somebody
stuff.
Commenting over here on TikTok, the $600 hammer is now $900, and he's right. So why do we need a $900 billion defense spending package? We do not, right?
And
So
if there is legitimacy behind that number, explain it to us. Again, the messaging. Explain to
$900
us.
hammer.
Exactly. Explain it, justify it to us as the American people that are going, I can't afford milk, but you're sending all this money overseas. Explain it
Right.
to me so I can understand and justify it in my mind.
I mean, there's even room. Go ahead.
No, Brian, you go ahead.
There's even rumors that tonight's Trump address, he's going to be talking about, I mean, Tucker Carlson said this, but he was like, it's possible that he could be declaring war on Venezuela, so, and obviously I take that with a grain of salt, but at the same time, you've got all of these different things flying in a billion different directions. There is no coherency in the message. There's all like, nobody knows what's going on really. And it looks poor, just to your point, David, when it comes to whatever the heck it is I'm trying to say, but for some reason I can't remember. But when it comes to messaging, I think it was what you were talking about, messaging or being able to put a point across and to work in solidarity and to support the president. And it's, federal income tax, great idea, I just don't ever see it happening.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening because it's just another talking point, something to punt down the road to get everybody hopeful, and then it never delivers. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, there's all kinds of things that I've been really disappointed in this whole situation. And one of the least things that I'm disappointed in is the Epstein list. I could care less because I care more about America right now than and where we're going in the midterms, especially because if Democrats take over any one of the places, it's just going to be shoestrings tied. I mean, it's already bad enough, but it's going to be like shackles on the legs. Mm-hmm. So if our shoelaces are tied together, then it's shackles. And so, it's just been a delight to have you on, David, and to listen to you and Aaron go back and forth. The people that actually know what they're talking about, and you know what I'm saying? So I just love it, man. I'm over here with my little paper and pen and just writing down.
Well, hey, let me make sure I got this correct. It wasn't Palantir. That's a different guy. It is Palmer Luckey, and it's Anduril Industries. And if you guys want to get
Anduril,
If you guys want to get a load of this guy, check him out on Joe Rogan. It was a good interview. But I call him the Timu Tony Stark because he's got this haircut and this little Billy Goat scruff and this Hawaiian shirt on. And all of a sudden, he's building drones for the defense industry, and we're going to be the state of the art, this, that, and the other. Okay, great. The future of warfare is here. But again, $900 billion. Somebody is not getting rich. They're getting generationally wealthy, as they have for decades post-World War II, right? We're getting hosed at $900 billion. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what to think anymore. I honestly, and I think I was telling David this on I don't know if there is fixing this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there is a fix for this other than, just doing what we always do and kicking the can down the road. I don't. And then it's going to come to a head. And then
It is. It's
yeah,
going
and I
to
keep
happen.
thinking about a little tinfoil hat moment. I keep thinking about how, they're going to do away with the dollar potentially at some point, and then put us on to a digital currency. And now I don't know what's true anymore, but it can't keep going like this. That's one thing that I do know for certain. So.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll say this, and then, gentlemen, I have to run because I got about 3,000 things to pack because I'm supposed to leave for months tomorrow. But I don't care if we spend $1 jillion on defense as long as every single dime is efficiently being spent on defense. I mean, that is the one role of government that we want, is a strong military to defend us against a increasingly evil world, but it's even becoming more increasingly evil within. So we need to look at how we're using those defense dollars, not just to defend our borders externally, but internally as well. But that being said, look, we did go through Doge, right? And where did it get us? And we didn't cut nearly enough. And you're right, of that $900 billion, a lot of it's going to go to waste. I mean, you look at some of these Boeing programs, they're 3 times as expensive as SpaceX, yet they keep their contracts. They could be behind schedule and there's no consequences. The military-industrial complex really probably is one of the most powerful, not only lobbying groups, but money. And then there's budgets that we don't even see of that $900 billion. There's probably another few $100 billion that are just not even on the books that these people get for a lot of different things. So at the end of the day, what we need to do is really find a way to actually make Congress do their job and audit how we're spending this money. And then, and then in my opinion, then maybe we can feel confident about spending the money, but we shouldn't be throwing good money after bad. And I agree with everything you guys are saying.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, you're awesome.
Find a way to audit and audit, not, looking in arrears 2 years. We need to have an audit trail that is actively current, with whatever's happening. We need to be able to have access to it and be able to, point out different things that we disagree with. Not this like, oh, well, let's pull this budget up from 4 years ago and look at all this waste. It's like, well, we can't do anything about that now. So let's speed that time frame up to where we can audit these things as they're happening.
My question simply is this: if we get a $900 billion military budget, right, and we can defend our borders from without, what about everything that's going on from within?
Right.
Like we you got Islam, radical Islam going on. You got all these different things that are happening right now that are just literally infecting our society. And I'll just say that straight up, being a person who grew up as a Muslim. But you have all of these things going on, and we're outward facing, and we're not really doing what we need to do to get coherency in our own country. Honestly, we can't even control our states at all. So, I mean, call me a negative Nancy. I don't know.
You're observant, Nancy. Gentlemen, can we do this again?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wish I could stay with you for the entire time. I really do. But it was an honor to join you today. Great conversations, great show, and I'm honored to be part of it. So thank you. And thank you all for your service, all 3 of you.
Thank you.
One last question. As your substitute, is this a nightly show you're going to be doing out there?
Yeah, 10 p.m. Eastern on OAN. It's Fine Point. Chanel Rion is the current host. She's on maternity leave, so I'm going to fill in for her, and so she could be home with her baby. And so they're trusting me and my capable hands to keep the show afloat. And and I'm honored to have the opportunity. And 10 p.m. Eastern. It's Fine Point, and I'll be guest hosting until February 28th. So if you guys want to watch OAN, it's on Sling, it's on YouTube TV, it's on Dish Network, it's on all the Spectrum channels, it's everywhere. Or you can get the OAN Live app and watch it anytime you want from your phone on demand. So please, guys, go check me out on Chanel's Fine Point on OAN. And also you can watch the David Pollack Show on Patriot TV on Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And also I have a space on X every Monday at 7 p.m., 7 to 9 p.m., where I just interact with everybody on X. So that's where I'm at, and I appreciate you guys so incredibly much. For your viewers, if they want to follow me, at David Pollack USA, David Pollack USA on TikTok, on X, on Instagram, just about everywhere there's social media, I'm at David Pollack USA. And I appreciate you guys so much, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year,
Kwanzaa.
Whatever it is you're celebrating. Festivus. Have a good one. And we'll see what President Trump says tonight. I'm honored to be a part of this show, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all the good
Absolutely.
clips, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you. Don't forget to
Appreciate
follow
it,
this
man.
guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Take care, buddy. Safe
I'll text
travels.
you later.
All right, take care, guys.
Yep. well.
So I want to read something real quick because we were talking about warfare and those kind of things. All right, everything just shifted. What the hell happened?
No, we're good.
We're good.
All right, fifth generation warfare is a modern concept of conflict focused on non-kinetic, data-driven attacks using social engineering, misinformation, cyber warfare, and AI to manipulate perception and control populations, aiming to achieve strategic goals without overt physical force, blurring the lines between war and peace, and targeting the human domain. So you take fifth generation warfare, in addition to overwhelming countries and swamping the social safety net, you break the system, and then you get everybody screaming for help. So the government starts the fire, and then they come in and they play firefighter.
Yeah. And getting into the defense budget things, stuff that David kind of alluded to, there's a lot of stuff off the books that we don't know about that.
Correct.
I'm sure they are
black budget.
Exactly. Some black budget stuff, some skunk works type stuff. And our Hawaiian shirt buddy over there is, if you've listened to him talk, he is on the leading edge of the next generation of warfare. I think we can all agree after seeing the Russia-Ukraine war happening, drone warfare is going to be what's the next step in modern day warfare. So for him, I think there needs to be some of that R&D into the next generation of warfare. What are we going to do? What's the next technology that's going to keep us ahead? You know, you have those hypersonic missiles, all of these new technologies that we have to stay ahead of because, of course, Russia, China, all of these other big countries are going to try to beat us at the race. You know, it's always an arms race. So I do understand that there is a hefty amount of money that needs to be allocated to that type of stuff, and I'm okay with that. But like David said, as long as it's being used efficiently and we can keep track of it, and there's not all of this, you know, under the table deals going on where our money's getting spent and just lining the pockets. That's where it needs to be. That's where it needs to be put a halt.
But when you've got criminals in charge of everything across the board or embedded in so many different levels of government bureaucracy, how do you ensure that the right thing is being done? You can't.
Right.
You have got, if you want to reset the system, you have to have something like World War II. You have to basically destroy countries and say, well, and I'm going to oversimplify this a little bit. If a bank had a loan on a building and the building no longer exists, well, the loan no longer exists, right? Because the collateral is gone. So if we have put ourselves into a position where we are basically financially bankrupt globally all across the world, how do the criminals get out of it? Well, you have to create a situation that is so big, so unbelievable, and so catastrophic that it's like, oh, well, game over. We're going to start over fresh. Right.
A little black swan event to reset. Yep.
Thank you. A black swan event is exactly what I should have been saying. And then you bring in the new currency system. Hey, don't worry, everybody. We're going to give you, everybody gets 1 million credits. And in the beginning, you'll be able to spend your 1 million credits on whatever you want. And then eventually the credits will come with restrictions. Mm-hmm. Well, you three do a show and we don't like your opinion. So you have your 1 million credits, but you can't spend them.
Yeah.
You can look at them.
Yeah.
But you can't spend them.
Or we'll have like a health bar on our show and it'll just like slowly be draining.
Healthy, so we got to change it. So we go back into green instead of red, but you can get rice and beans, but you can't drive your car to the grocery store. You can walk because we turned your credits off at the gas station. And if people think that shit is crazy, it is not. Because if I would have told you 2 days before 9/11 happened, that 9/11 was going to happen, you would have looked at me like I had a third eyeball right here.
Absolutely.
If I would have told you COVID was going to happen, you'd have looked at me like I lost my mind. This is the United States of America. That'll never happen. Then it happened, right? So to say these things are unbelievable, unthinkable, and would never happen here, people line up.
Exactly. Well, and then a perfect example of this. Look at China right now. The social credit score stuff.
Yes,
that is a real thing happening over there. If you'd have told me that 10 years ago, I don't care what country it was, I'd have been like, "There's no way." Nobody would stand or let that happen to them. They would stand up against it and rise against it. Well, guess what? One of the biggest countries in the world is doing it to everybody in their population. Yes. So it is possible. It is very possible. Yes, they're communist, that type of thing, but it just proves the point that it is possible if you get enough power behind it. So, I mean, we have to take heed to these warnings. The world is giving us all kinds of warnings. Yeah. London and England, all that's giving us warnings on
Australia.
Australia.
You saw that whole. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
they're good.
has happened. Like censored their posts now over there, and they're going to start pulling down certain posts.
Yeah.
It's insane.
There's
bro.
people getting arrested for liking a tweet or a post on social media in England. That is insane.
Somebody came from England to America, shot a gun, put it on his social media, went home and got arrested.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. It's dystopian. It is 1984 happening right now. And then you look at, and I'm sure we haven't gotten too many warnings on TikTok yet, but I'm sure we will here in a minute.
Yeah.
If you allow a non-compatible culture into your society, it is going to cause problems, especially when you give that non-compatible culture preferential treatment.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Go ahead, Brian.
I don't even know what I was going to say. Really, it just geographically speaking, America's in a pretty good position, and the way our country is set up, like I said before, England, you could take England and fit it in Texas like twice, and with some to go to give, and so it's one of those things that it may come to certain states in this country, and there will be pushback. But then, even if it sweeps the United States, it will be one of those things where there will be holdout pockets, and so, but it'll be the government trying to mandate to the social media companies and to people that are online in order to control this speech. They won't necessarily, I don't think, take the same route and put us in jail, or they may try. They may try to put out a warrant in Wisconsin to come down and get us in Florida, but then you're going to have Florida-type people that are going to say, you're not coming into our county. It's going to be kind of the opposite, and the ICE situation that's going on right now. You know, when there's like I think it was the chief of police or something in Minnesota or Minneapolis. Like, I'm not working with these guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and
when he doesn't understand that federal law supersedes any kind of state law.
Yeah, and so I honestly think that we've got a little bit more of a hopeful situation, not for some states, and all of those people who love being controlled and need safe states and safe spaces and stuff like that. They'll probably flee to those states so they don't get picked on. And you'll see the rise of opposition media that will come up. So I don't think that the United States is going to be conquered quite as easily. I don't
think it would be easily, but perfect example is COVID. Look how quickly the masses were, completely manipulated into doing one thing. If you get people scared enough, they'll pretty much do whatever you want. Yeah. So I think I've always said this from the very beginning. I think COVID was a test run on some type of is it possible to control the masses like we want to? And in my opinion, that was a wild success. They proved that they can control us if they get us scared enough.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. It was the world's largest psychological warfare experiment, and it was a resounding success.
And I remember I was working for Pastor Greg Locke at the time, and so we had to go out to Seattle or out to Washington State. And we were staying somewhere, and I got onto the elevator, and I just popped my mask off to say something to Greg because he couldn't understand me. And this lady got in the corner, and she's like, "Put your mask on!" Like, literally, she went off on us, and then got out and went and told the staff. And the staff were, thank God, they were reasonable people. They're just, don't worry about it. But like, it was insane. I've never experienced anything like it. Nor do I want to again. And it sucks wearing masks on planes. That's just 100%.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I became an Instacart user like overnight. I'm like, Instacart's my friend, because I was not going to go out into public and fight that whole mask thing because I refused to wear one. So I did have to, and using Instacart was a form of self-censorship because I had to change my behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey guys, real quick, can I? And I hate to interrupt. I got a guy named Gentry Gevers.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with him on Instagram? He's got like a following. Yeah. I can see he's happy to jump on for a few minutes just to weigh in.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. And I told him it's not formal, just like the first one. I told David that it wasn't going to be formal as well. So next year will be formal. All right, keep going.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got about 15 minutes before we got to hop off.
Yeah, I told him.
Okay.
All right. So here we are. Let me escape out of that. There we go. All right, you were saying
Who?
you.
I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
we
was
were
just
talking about COVID.
Even though I had to self-censor, meaning I had to
like I gotta
change my
shrink.
behavior in order to not conform. So there was success in that way as well. I was rebellious. I didn't wear a mask. Well, but only because I had Instacart, right? And so it would have made it much more difficult had we not had delivery service. So I was able to keep myself out of that nonsense only because those services were available. So imagine for those of us who could see through the bullshit, if we didn't have the availability to have things delivered, what would we have done? It would have been a bigger problem because I wasn't going to conform.
Yeah, well, and then to play devil's advocate on the whole COVID thing is, yes, the government could prove that they could manipulate us if they got us scared enough. But I think it also, us as the citizenry, made us realize that, look, this is what's capable. The government is capable of doing this. And it gave us kind of a starting point to be able to go, all right, this is how we can resist this. This is how, if this comes up next time, we know what to do now. Because now, the first time, nobody knew what to do. Everybody was scared in the beginning. But now we know, all right, the government is evil. The government is able to manipulate us like that. Now here's what we can do. Learning what we did from COVID. Now we know what to do next time is what I was getting at. A very long-winded, shitty way.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. I don't know when this Gentry guy's going to go. No, listen, I want to talk about real quick, and we didn't get to talk about it. Maybe we can wait for Gentry for this one. Talk about Trump's tweet, and then I also, just circling back to all the crazy stuff that we've kind of glossed over from last weekend. I mean, it was what an insane. We got Rob Reiner, we got the shooting at what was the name of the beach? Bondi Beach.
Yeah.
Bondi Beach. Just insane stuff. And
Brown University.
Brown University. This stuff is happening here too.
Yeah.
They're in place. And Brown University, it's just going to oh my gosh. And it's going to be a crapshoot, honestly, whether or not they're going to be able to prevent a lot of this. They did prevent one out in LA.
Yes.
They had they caught that.
Why LA? That was a weird, maybe because it was an easy target, but what is to gain out of doing it in LA?
Hey,
I don't know.
By the way, my TikTok live got taken down.
Ah, dang it.
Because I said, what did I say?
No, we talked about COVID.
Dang it.
You got to just quit. Like as soon as David got off, you just
the show went off
right
the
there.
rails.
Kill it right there.
I put in an appeal, but I doubt if it goes through. So
Man.
For a while.
Gentry, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, thanks for the last minute invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man.
It's the last show of the year, so we were just kind of hanging out and doing a hang sesh and talking about the weekend things that went down. Obviously, Dan Bongino. We were just talking about Bondi Beach and Brown University and all the things, all the beautiful things that could possibly go wrong in this country. So you're caught up and up to date. It's good to meet you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you guys picked such light topics to talk about today.
Where do you want to start?
Christmas spirit.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess Brown University, one of my friends, Will Donahue, he's the chairman of the College Republicans, and Ella Cook was one of the VPs of that chapter. And he was sharing with me that some of the other conservatives on campus, and there's like 10 of them, that they've been getting like threatening messages for weeks. And there's and this is allegedly, right? So I don't know if this is true, but there was a lot of interesting social justice warrior groups that were petitioning Brown to turn off their CCTV cameras before the shooting. So obviously all that's conspiracy.
Yeah.
Obviously all that's a conspiracy. I think that what is kind of astonishing is how terrible the FBI has been on this whole thing. There was the clip, it was like a 3-4 minute clip of the FBI just like shoveling snow around,
kicking their feet through the snow
with their feet.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing?
How about a metal detector?
I don't know.
Whoever was in charge of that, man.
It's a disaster out there right now, and it's just being
from top to bottom, from the beginning. I mean, they got the wrong guy, and they were so confident in their wording when they supposedly got the guy in the beginning, and then now it's like, nope, never mind, we messed up. It's like, what are y'all doing out there? And then the CCTV footage that is slowly trickling out, and it's like, that there's cameras all over that place. You can't tell me that you don't have some kind of footage somewhere. And then the footage we do see looks like it's filmed with a 1985 camera. It's like, get out of here with this stuff, man. Yeah.
It just blows my mind that we live in a constitutional republic and we cannot get a hold of our universities. And it's not to indoctrinate, but it's to educate, right? What are we educating on? There should be constitutional boundaries given for universities that they have to stay within that framework. Now they can interpret it to this way, to that way, whatever but at the same time, they just need to teach straight, whatever it is that they're teaching, straight history, straight English, whatever it is. I mean, but yet we let it go unchecked. And this is just a symptom of a larger problem that's going on in our universities. Berkeley University is historically known for being radical and violent towards anybody who disagrees with their opinions. And I mean, you had who was it? Rob Schneider. Mm-hmm. Rob Schneider went out there and they were like pitching a bitch about him showing up and he has to like sneak in and sneak out. Yeah, and it's just crazy, bro. It's insane that we allow this stuff. And I know it's because we're a free country and we have free speech, and I get that. But educationally, I mean, there's just no way to fix this shit. I honestly, to me, it's like, you know what?
Burn it down.
The strong man. We just hope it's the strong man in the right direction, So, and we kind of got that with Trump a little bit, but like David Pollack was saying earlier, he doesn't have a Congress that's working with him. Even his own team is working against him.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy.
It just kind of seems like things are on life support, unfortunately. One of these days we're going to crash out.
Yeah.
I feel like the left is already crashing out in society. It's crazy.
Well, if you want to see a crash out, go check out Fani Willis's video. She's getting grilled in Georgia over her Trump trashy trial she tried to put on. One of the questions they asked her was how much that she paid her board toy. She let him bill 160 hours a week.
And I
Jesus.
Need that in my life.
There's 168 hours in a week, so he's doing well.
He was working overtime, man.
He was showing up, and he was being a leader and an example to the other prosecutors in that team. And I'm going to make sure that if anybody comes to my town and does anything wrong, we're going to prosecute him again.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if you're gonna do fraud like that, at least be reasonable. 160 hours. Come on, man.
65
put
hours.
50 in there.
It's a high profile trial. You're billing it $4.50 an hour, probably. All right, you can probably get away with 65 hours a week and more money than you've ever made. Don't worry, the check will cash. No worries, it's taxpayer money.
Dude, we're just on the wrong team, I guess, when it comes to getting rich.
I guess crime does pay, but I want to sleep at night.
Billions.
Yeah.
For real.
We got morals and values.
Trillions.
Morals and values.
Gentry, what you got? What's on your mind, man?
Honestly, I was thinking about the Target employee that got harassed by Michelle out of California. And I was really hoping that the virality of that video, because that video was everywhere. I bet you got 20, 30, 40 million views across everyone that's posted it. And I was really hoping that the public shaming would get her fired. And I saw a post from her company or a little thing, and it's basically like, we're not going to disclose the status of the employee. And I was thinking to myself, like, because I was kind of hopeful. I actually tweeted this out. It didn't go anywhere because my Twitter is horrible. But I tweeted this out, and it was a viral society is a polite society, kind of playing on an armed society is a polite society, because a public shaming and everything. I was hoping that it would kind of catch on, but I don't even think public shaming is doing it anymore. And I feel like we got to hit them where it hurts, because they hit us where it hurts, right? They got us fired for not taking the vaccines, and they're trying to put us in jail for, going to Catholic church and going to school board meetings and whatever. So that's kind of what I'm feeling like. The Republican Party that, didn't flip tables kind of got us in this mess. Mm-hmm. And so I don't necessarily want us to, go burn down Minneapolis or any of these other cities, but there's got to be a more strategic way. I think the redistricting is fantastic, playing by their own rules. Indiana needs to get in line. I think they blocked that, but we gotta start playing a little bit more strategic, playing to win instead of playing to be nice.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Because, I mean, at this point, being nice hasn't gotten us very, very, very far. But us being the right and the as we claim to be the side of morality, it's a tough line we have to balance. We don't want to get down and dirty and be idiots and morons like the people on the left, but there's an argument to be made that you almost have to be able to make advancements the way we want to. So
how much you want to bet that Gavin Newsom called a shot, said, hey, you see that stuff that's trending right now? He called down to one of his little minions, and then they were like, yeah, this is what you need to do. And that was the messaging from the target, right? It was the target. Yeah. Target. And so that was the messaging. And plus it's in California. I don't know what it's a libtard, ridiculous state. And like the worst kind of liberal lives there. Not all of them are bad, but pretty much every one of them.
Most of them are. Well, hey, let's kind of wrap it up on that note. We're 4 minutes to the top of the hour, and we know President Trump's going to be giving us a live something or other coming up here in about 4 minutes. If it's absolutely spectacular and earth-shattering and the news goes haywire, maybe we'll all hop back on. Who knows? But
that'd be great.
Yeah, if that's the case, and then
I'm
Gentry, stick around. If it's that earth-shattering, maybe we'll hop back on. But want to thank everybody. It's been a fantastic 2025 for us. This is show number 23. We're going to take the rest of the year off, barring any breaking catastrophic or fantastic news, and we're going to bring this show back in January, bigger, badder, and better than ever. So again, thank you all for your support who've stuck with us from the beginning, and we look forward to seeing what 2026 brings. Guys, stay sharp, stay frosty, keep your head on a swivel, because it's going to get interesting.
Absolutely. And Gentry, thanks for hopping on short notice.
Yes.
We'll definitely have you on again in a more formal capacity.
Yeah. I was just
instead of us shooting a text out and say, get on. Yeah.
Hey,
if you want to shout out your socials, get everybody, give you a follow.
Yeah, my social, my Instagram is at Gentry Gevers. I'm most active on there, trying to build up my X, Gentry W Gevers. And then you can find me on Facebook and Threads and YouTube and all the other stuff. So, yep.
Very cool.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Anything else?
I'm good for now.
All right. Go President Trump. Don't fuck it up this evening.
All right. Well, you might see us. Who knows? We'll talk about it.
All right, guys.
Brian, you good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I want to holler at Gentry after this ends real quick, unless he's got to run to the Trump speech. But so if we could stay on afterwards, that'd be great.
All right, 10-4. I'm going to take down the live. See everybody. Merry Christmas.